Hi friends, it's Claire from ScrappyNerdUK and welcome to the next instalment of December Daily Directory. So this video today is a little bit of a longer one. This is a tutorial on how you can make your own traveller's notebook cover, inserts, page marker, plastic folder inserts, and yeah, so I hope that if you're looking for inspiration on something you can make yourself, then it is right here, right now. So I've just cut some cardstock down and all of the measurements will be in a blog post which I will link below for you. So I've chosen to use the Christmas Promise, I think it's called, which is a paper pad that I got from Hobbycraft, I think the year before last. And it's the collection that I used for my December Daily 2 years ago. And I'm going to laminate the front cover just to enforce the cardstock. You don't have to do this if you don't have a laminator. You can skip this process. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually cutting down another lamination sheet because this is going to help me make some pockets in the folder. So with the lamination sheets, I'm putting them just one side of it and I'm putting it shiny side down. And then when this goes through the laminator, that's going to help me to create pockets on the side of the cover. So I'm just going to pop that through the laminator now. And once this bit is all done, then I'll show you how to cut into those pockets. So I pre-scored where I wanted my binder to open, so it's got a 1-inch spine, and that's going to give it the width for me to be able to include some inserts. So first of all, I'm just rounding these corners to make sure they're not so dangerous, so stabby, and I'm just pulling out a craft knife. So where I've put that extra bit of lamination sheet, I'm just going to use a craft knife to cut down. Just be careful not to push through your knife too much because you don't want it to go through to the cardstock as well. And once you do this, I'm struggling with this side a bit, I'm not too sure why. Once you do this, then that will create a pocket, a little pouch on the side, and you can use this to pop some extra embellishments or whatever you want into. So I've done one to the left and to the right. You could also do it bottom pockets as well. So if you wanted, rather than left and right ones, you could do the same as what I've done, just put them at the bottom of the card. So here I'm just punching 3 holes with a small hole punch, and this is going to be where my string runs through. So you'll see there that I'm punching a hole on the left score line, one in the middle, and then one on the right score line. Now, if you want to be really particular, you could measure those out, but I just eyeballed it and it was fine. So if you just watch closely, if you are going to recreate this, what I'm doing here is I'm feeding it up through the bottom right, up to the top, and then across to the middle. So I'm just weaving it in and out. And then when I get to the end, I'm going to feed it back through to the middle. And that's going to create 4 strings in total. And that's pretty much all you want to include in this. Now you could make this, if you've already got an album ready, you could make this as a Christmas planner instead, which is what I might use it for because I have a 6x8 album that I'm doing mine in. With the addition of a traveller's notebook insert. So I'm just testing it here. Now, the sizes that I've actually made here, it's a little bit short if you're going to include many inserts with a standard traveller's notebook size. But I do show you the sizes on the blog for the normal or the made ones that I've done for this. So because I can't get my hole punch into the middle when I do want an elastic to keep this all closed, again I've just eyeballed where the middle is, eyeballed with the help of a ruler, and I'm just pulling that string tight just to see exactly where I want that to sit. So I feed it through and then I tie a knot in the end. Now it's important you don't tie the knot too tightly, because this is what happens. I pull it nice and tight, and then I pull it back through and try and wrap it around and it's all loose. So I just decide to cut that and try another knot again. So if you leave the knot quite loose like I've done there and just test it before you tighten it up, then that makes all the difference. So that is the enclosure done. So that's pretty much the cover all sorted. Now we're going to have a look at making an insert for it. So I'm just going to show you one of these. In total, I did end up making 3 books to go in. And if you're going to use this for December daily, think about how many pages you want for your days. So I ended up putting in 3 pieces of thinner cardstock for my pages. And this will be enough because that will double up to 12, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Because that will double up to 12, because you're going to make them, you're going to have half of that and then, or double that and double again. Yes, you're going to have 12 per book, or you could add more pages in if you want a thicker book. I tried to score all of those all at the same time, and it just was not working. So if you don't have a scoreboard, a little tip for you: if you have a trimmer, then line your paper up to halfway and use the running blade of the trimmer. So if you've got one of the Fiskars ones like I've got, you could just run a score line down where your little track goes, where you normally cut. I think the Stampin' Up! Trimmers have a optional scoring blade. I think you can get a scoring blade actually for the Fiskars one. So when that all goes back in, I have just trimmed the edge of that white cardstock off, because as soon as you start layering them back up, they tend to all spread out a bit. So this is a little technique as to how you can bind your book together without having to sew it. So all you do is you have a surface underneath. So I've just used a piercing mat. So corrugated cardboard would work fine, or any piece of foam. And then you open your stapler out and you staple through the middle of the spine. And then turn your book over and just flatten those staples to where they should be. So that is your insert, or your first book, done. So next up, we're going to have a look at making a page marker. I think I use this for. So first of all, I cut down the right sizes, just making sure I've got it round the right way. You have got to be careful, because when you cut it, when you cut any of these papers, they're only about an inch difference in the height and the width. So I've done it a couple of times on this, where I've cut I've scored it the wrong way round, or cut it the wrong way round. So this is going to be a page marker, and it's also going to include a pen loop. So all I've done here is I've cut my cardstock, folded it in half, and just drawn myself a little square, and make sure that that square is drawn on the side where the paper folds. If you do it the other side, this isn't going to work. So make sure it's down the folded side. And that bit there, I'm just showing you, I'm just going to get my bone folder. Just be careful when doing this, because I nearly ripped mine. That is going to create the pen loop for you. So again, just to make it a bit sturdy, I'm going to pop it through my laminator and give it some lamination. Now you can, if you have clear packing tape, you could use that as well as an alternative if you don't have a laminator. I would highly suggest, if you're going to be looking to making mini albums in the future, if it's something you want to invest in, then definitely a laminator is fairly inexpensive actually, and it's a great way to be able to make projects that will certainly last, especially if you've flicking through the album constantly, then and that's definitely something you want to look into. So next up, I've also put a pocket in that. Now you can see here, I have made a mistake because I've cut down the side of that lamination sheet too close to the edge. So it means that only one side has sealed. So if that happens, I mean, I'm just going to leave it as sort of an open flap pocket. Then you can either run it back through with another lamination sheet, or you could add a bit of washi tape on the side to close it. There are other options. So next up, we're going to add a folder into the album as well. And you see there I've made a score line on the incorrect, at the incorrect place, but I just added another score line in. If you don't have a scoreboard as well, you could just, a lot of this is, apart from the actual, the cover bit, most of this is just folded in half. So you could just fold it in half instead. So all I've done there is I've scored, so I've scored it in half, and then I've scored a bottom portion as well, just so that's going to be the bit that folds up to create the pockets. And then I'm just going to pop some double-sided tape. Now, if you've got red line tape, I would suggest that you use that because that is much more long-lasting, or wet glue as well. But I'm just showing you that even with some double-sided tape, you can still create the same thing. And that is the folder done. So we're going to pop that in there as well. So the page marker is just designed to pop into the book when you, as to where you were at. And the page marker is great anyway because you can add your pen onto that as well. Next, onto some clear pockets for your album. You do not have to use the page protectors because those are quite expensive. You can just use normal plastic document pocket things, these ones. So all I've done is I've used my insert, my little pocket insert, folder insert, and I've cut down the size that I need. Now there's two ways that you can seal these. I'm sure you can think of more, but there's two ways that I seal these. Some washi tape. So we've already got two edges that are sealed in already. So the other two edges, well, one's the top. So you're going to need to use that to load whatever you want into the pocket. And the other one at the side there is where I've just added the washi tape. Now to make it look symmetrical, I'm just adding in the same washi tape to the other side. So that's already sealed in, but I'm just adding in some washi tape to help make it look uniform. And then I'm just going to score down the middle there. It's important to try and get a definitive crease as much as possible, because when you put this back into your string, you're going to want to get that to stay and sit in that groove where the string comes down. So to help with that a bit, I'm just going to sturdy up the middle by again adding in some more washi tape, and I'm just going to do front and back on this. And then all I'm going to do is just cut it at the top and at the bottom to tidy it all up. And then again, once I've done that, I'm just going to use my bone folder to crease that down the middle, just to help that sit in the album a lot better. And then I'll show you what it looks like in the album. So I'm just going to feed that underneath one of the books, and that's given me two pockets there and there. How cool is that? So next up, I'm going to show you it if you are lucky enough to have a fuse tool. I have a love-hate relationship with my fuse tool. It's brilliant when it works, and it's super frustrating when it doesn't, but it's perfect for something like this. So I'm just going to show you with this fuse tool. I'm going to seal one side only. I'm going to want the top and the other two sides already sealed, as I've said, and I'm going to leave that top bit open to be able to add my inserts, which I'm going to show you some cut files that you can include as well. I love using cut files, especially in pocket pages like this. So I'm going to fuse down the middle as well to create two definite pockets to stop the cut files from travelling. And yes, this is why I have a love-hate relationship with my fuse tool, because it ate up a little bit of my my pocket at the top. So yeah, these are fairly inexpensive little plastic wallets, but it's great to be able to buy a pack of 20 for £2, and they'll go so far. And there we are, I have 2 little pockets there and there. So this cut file here is from Pretty My Page, and these are the Christmas cut files that are out now. And so I've already pre-cut these, and I wanted to do something with them to include them in the pockets, just to show you the, oh, look at these stars that I put on the eyes, and then I quickly decide that that's not the right place to put those stars. I just wanted to show you that you can add things in like this that create some decoration. I mean, you could use the pockets for other things. You could put some pattern paper in and sort of put your photographs on from the day you're doing in December Daily. But I quite like this as a bit of a filler. And what I'm going to do is, so the cut file doesn't come out, and to make it look all uniform, I'm actually going to add the washi tape now to the bottom and also to the top. So I'm just going to do that here, making sure that it's all nice and flat, and that's going to stop my cut file from moving around as well. And I quite like the effect it gives it. It looks like it's got a frame around it. So I will leave a link to Pretty My Page in the description box down below as well. If you are in the market for cut files, then there are loads of digital ones that you can buy and download. There are also ones that you can purchase pre-cut. So if you don't have a silhouette or a Cricut, then you can also buy the pre-cut ones, which is fantastic news. So all I'm doing here is, I love a shaker pocket. So I'm just adding in some silver sequins, and I'd already turned my fuse tool off, so I'm just going to use a little bit of washi tape at the top to seal that in. I didn't do such a good job, but it's held it in for the minute until I get a chance to go back and reseal it. And look at that, I just love it. I love a shaker pocket. So that's an easy way that you can create one with a plastic document folder and a small cut file. Oh, one more thing actually with the cut files is, I'd pre-cut this, and I just wanted to show you that you could use cut files in the in your traveller's notebook as well. So I pre-cut it, backed it, and this is just a little bit of a design inspiration for you. Obviously that's just a photo for example, it's not actually a Christmas photo, so you could just do something as simple as this in your traveller's notebook. But the point is, you can get this prepped and ready for December to start. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this has given you some inspiration to be able to create your own album from scratch. As I said, all the sizes for what you're going to need for this are in a blog post, which is linked below. The cut files are linked below as well from the Pretty My Page website. And thank you very much for sticking with me, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another one. Bye!